As somebody that has had dogs die as young as 4 months old from genetic health issues, one of the most important questions I ask myself of any potential new breed is, are they healthy? So in today's video, let's look at the question of, are Labradors healthy dogs? It is the saddest reality of being a dog lover that no dog lives forever. Indeed, the average life expectancy across all breed hovers somewhere between 10 and 12 years. Perhaps just as gutting though is the fact that some breeds are born into bad health, inheriting high likelihoods of certain conditions through their pedigree, meaning that those already quite short lives are destined to be more difficult for them. For the Labrador, whose life expectancy is about a year above the average for all dogs in the UK, the health profile is decent but not perfect. Let's jump straight in with an important factor, the obesity issue. Labradors are 4 times more likely to be present with obesity at the vets than the average crossbreed dog that they treat. According to a 2014 study, which is quite extreme, Labradors and a small number of other retriever breeds have a rare gene deletion known as the POM-C that seems to lead them to poor appetite regulation, meaning that they will always be hungry and rarely turn down food. Because they are so popular in non-working homes, and because we are a nation of dog lovers, we feed them as much as they can accept and walk them as little as we are able, and the obesity simply comes along. Now, I mention obesity because it is a direct predictor of cancer in dogs, which is the second most diagnosed conditions in Labrador retrievers. 1 in 10 Labradors present with either arthritis or lameness. Keeping them active, leaner and more muscular is statistically the best way to extend their lives and maintain their quality of life. The next most common ailment recorded in Labradors is rather on the less serious end of things, which is ear infections. The morphology of the ears might play a part, but one of the most obvious factors at play here is water. These are historically water-based animals and they still love the water like very few other breeds do. But failure to dry them properly, ears included, leaves them more open to infections like this of the outer ear and other skin issues. Incidentally, these issues affect twice as many chocolate Labradors than black Labradors, a pattern that also occurs with other problems, where chocolate Labradors can be as much as 4 times more likely to be affected. Keeping your Labrador dry after water-bound exploits can help to reduce the likelihood of this becoming a recurring and expensive problem that inhibits your dog's quality of life. Bringing it back to mortality, it's worth mentioning that the #1 cause of death in Labradors, accounting for over a quarter of all deaths, is musculoskeletal issues. Now, I've already mentioned how obesity can contribute to lameness and cancer-based problems, but the fact is that Labradors of all shapes and sizes find themselves suffering with joint and muscle issues, most notably hip and elbow dysplasia. Crucially, these are conditions that are debilitating and uncomfortable for the dogs affected. But even more crucial to know, this is that they are largely heritable, and directly so too. So the good news about hip and elbow dysplasia is that a responsible breeder will hip and elbow test the mating pairs used to produce a litter to minimise the likelihood of passing it on to the puppy that you buy. So supporting responsible breeders if buying a puppy and assessing the current state of the Labrador's hips and elbows with a vet that you may be adopting means that this common health complaint that so often ends these dogs' lives is mostly avoidable. So other than tumours, it would appear that the most common issues surrounding Labrador health can be limited by human action. If we keep our Labradors dry and clean, fit and lean, and monitored for their genes, then we stand a good chance of having a healthy dog. In fact, putting aside the conditions that affect Labradors most, let's be grateful for the fact that they are far less likely than the average dog to suffer from heart diseases, eye issues, and hernias, according to a study. All in all, then, Labradors are pretty healthy dogs with a pretty decent lifespan lifespan, whose major ailments are relatively manageable if you're careful, and who knows, maybe your Labrador will get so lucky with its health that it joins the ranks of the longest living dogs ever, alongside a Labrador who was born here in England nearly a century ago, who lived to the extraordinary age of 27 years old.